Welcome back to another episode of the Hoops Lounge. My name is Marc Griffin, aka Montreal Mark, and this is our 50th episode, the Big 5-0. And so I've got my starting lineup with me. So basically today we're going to be doing the second round of the NBA playoffs, and then we'll talk about the musical chairs of NBA coaches moving around from team to team to team. And then my man Mota has a special surprise. He's got us all, myself and Phil, in suspense. He's saving for the very end of the show. So we'll find that out at the end. So let me introduce the guys. I've got my man Phil here. So he is a co-founder along with me at Hoops Lounge. You can see him every Wednesday on the site on his segment Off the Wire. On Twitter, you can find him at Sporting Phil. Phil, how are you doing today, man?
I'm doing great, and it's some breaking news from the world of film. Encino Man 2 is being filmed shortly with Mr. Robin Lopez starred and casted.
Yeah, that plant in the background, I don't know. So our other man from the Swiss Alps, but really from parts unknown, I call him the international man of mystery. You can find him on Twitter as Mota Elb. Mota, welcome back to the show, my friend.
Well, thank you, man. Thank you. I just want to say Happy Mother's Day to everyone. But without them, we wouldn't have been doing any Hoops Lounge. So thank you for everything, for all the support, and Happy Mother's Day to everybody.
And yeah, it's a very happy Mother's Day to my mom, because she was my assistant basketball coach when I was 6 years old. So she was always part of my life in the game. And that's a very good segue for us. We're going to be talking about the NBA playoffs, the second round, which not really as dramatic as the first, but there's one really fascinating thing that started off the week was Kevin Durant and his MVP speech. I'll throw it to you, Phil, first. What were your thoughts of that speech Kevin made?
I thought not only was it very well said, but it may have just tipped the balance of power in the West. I think more importantly than what he said and his verbiage and all this, it's how his team reacted. He gave a lot of credit to his team, a lot of credit to his organization, and seeing a selfless superstar like that, I think people want to go to battle with guys like that. I just thought it was one of the best sports speeches ever. I thought it was kind, it was generous, it showed sportsmanship, and we saw the game right after that. I thought they had a little bit more of a team chemistry going, a little bit more of an oomph. Beautiful thing to see.
And Mota, like you said, it's rare in sports you see athletes thanking their family and their friends, and especially Kevin and his mom. I mean, I grew up in a single parent household. I know a lot of NBA players have as well. I mean, what did that speech mean to you?
To me, it was honestly, I got goosebumps when I was listening to him, and he defined what leader is all about. He made it all about the team. He didn't make it about, okay, this is all me or anything. Obviously, sometimes you have all these public relations guys who will tell them what to say, but you can see that Kevin Durant is extremely genuine when he received the award, and he was thanking his mom, because, and even you see her in every game, she's right at the front court, just watching him play, yelling and all of that. So I definitely understood why he would have thanked her and thanking all his teammates, because at the end of the day, it's the most valuable player. It's not the one who scores the most. So without them, there's no MVP. And he showed that.
So, Phil, switching back to the actual game on the court, there's a name I'm going to bring up. Roy Hibbert decided to start playing this week. Is the Bynum effect over?
Either that or he's tired of playing Harry Houdini here. With a couple 0-0 games and looking like one of the worst players on the court, a couple side stories coming on. Who knows which ones are true, but we won't go into he said, she said. But Roy Hibbert obviously showing that with him, they are a legitimate contender. I mean, with him able to put in 28 or so points, I mean, it can make up for what was kind of subpar games from a lot of other Indiana Pacers. I mean, he really was carrying him that game. And they're going to need him, because without Roy Hibbert, I don't think Stevenson is consistent enough to be that second fiddle for Paul George. And even Paul George, he can take some nights off. I think with Roy Hibbert, it can show a totally different, color and scheme. But that's, to me, in this second round, that's one of my favorite series, especially in the East. When we're talking Washington, Indiana, Washington to me is a real dark horse here with front court scoring, size, guard play, youth, shooting. I just think it's a fantastic series, and Hibbert's going to have to keep doing things like this because I don't think Washington is a pushover in any regards. And I think.
Oh, let's not get too hasty here. You're disregarding Nene. You're disregarding the other big Russian monster that.
Martin Gortat.
Gortat. Yeah. He's Polish.
Sorry, Polish. I made them that mistake.
Look. In all fairness, I'm starting to expect Washington to maybe come out with this, but I'm just saying if Indiana is going to come through, Roy Hibbert's going to have to be a big factor in this. Oh, unless you mean how they defended Hibbert, maybe.
No, but you know what? If John Wall makes one big game, it's done because they have no matchup to in the point guard position. Indiana Pacers have no matchup to match John Wall's quickness, John Wall's game, and also you have on the other side Trevor Ariza, who will be just as soon as you double team John Wall, he will just be raining threes. So
he was 6 for 6 one game with that, right? So he's a definite 3-point assassin.
Not to get too hasty about Roy Hibbert. I know it's only one game, but let's not get too excited because it's only one game. And yeah, Bynum effect. I give you that because you called that like a long time ago. But you know what? It's only one game, and I have to see it in another game because playing an entire series that badly and then coming back to one game, I don't think that this is. Maybe it's gonna be better, but it's. I'm just saying, just wait for it.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you. I think that offense is super clogged up. Whenever you see Indiana on the offensive sets, they don't make the extra pass. It seems everyone's tentative, and Roy Hibbert kind of was like, okay, I'm big, and you guys aren't doing anything, so I'm now going to take over this offense. And I kind of fully expect Washington to at least push to 7, if not. I wouldn't have said at the beginning if you had promised me Hibbert was playing well, but those side guys, like, don't sleep on guys like Webster. Andre Miller's playing well. Trevor Booker, there's a lot of talent there in Washington, and that's why in the East, that's my favorite series to watch.
So getting back to the West, guys, I'm going to quote Dwight Walton, who we had on the show a couple of weeks back. The Spurs, the Spurs, the Spurs, the Spurs. Mota, why are the Spurs just killing everybody right now?
Oh man, it's no. I know you guys are gonna hate me for that because I keep on saying his name every time in every show. But it's Tony Parker, man.
I'm so happy you didn't say Tiago Splitter.
No, it's all about Tony Parker. I mean, he definitely elevated his game this time. And I think the turnaround was in Dallas. And I think Greg Popovich played his magic, and he told him, okay, you got to take this. Timmy will put on his numbers. Ginobili is not going to be playing that much, but you know what? You're the leader. You're the one who has to score the most. And he has been schooling Damian Lillard. You know, he's showing. He's still basically telling him, "Kid, watch me play because I've been here more times than you."
Well, let's not pretend that Lillard is this defensive dynamo, though, right? He like his weakness is defending the ball.
And he's 1 for 12 from the 3-point line in this series. Yeah. He's not been playing Dame Lillard basketball.
Yeah. And even Greg Popovich even said it in the press conference. Tony has been the engine for us. The ball starts with him, and then the rest of the Spurs will play better. If Tony is in good shape and he's pushing the ball, then the rest of the team just follows through. But
well, and speaking of good shape, I mean, if you're looking at Tony and Tim Duncan, like I've watched a few of those games, they haven't looked this in shape, fluid, just moving well. Like I feel Tony Parker and Tim Duncan move with the same fluidity as Kawhi Leonard in some of these games. It just seems like they're just healthy, motivated, and they play that bench. Marco Bellinelli, as you've been calling him forever. You know, he's really put up good numbers, and that team is just impressive.
Yeah, and congratulate also Tim Duncan on being the 5th all-time playoff scoring man after Carmelo. Right now, just past Carmelo right now. So, congratulate to Timmy.
Yeah, and you have to point out, what was I about to say? Doug Collins made a really good point. You know, Popovich resting Tony Parker for 3 weeks around February. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. He's fresh for the playoffs. So we got about 2 minutes left in round one here, fellas. So I'm going to throw this one to Phil. Brooklyn, surprising win against Miami. Should LeBron be scared at all, or was this kind of just a blimp on the?
I don't know how surprising it is. I mean, their talent is on their wings. I thought that they're one of the teams best suited to slow down LeBron James and co, because they have good size at the wings, unlike a team like Toronto, which is very thin. Guys like Joe Johnson, Paul Pierce, and with that much talent. And I'm surprised they're doing it without Durant Williams really stepping up, and obviously Brook Lopez being hurt. But I think they have enough talent to pull out 1 or 2 games. But the first 2 games were done in such a fashion that I don't think Brooklyn can win more than 2. I think at best for Brooklyn this is a 6-game series. I'm not looking for an upset.
You can't expect that a team like Brooklyn, who has been at ups and downs, and that game they were at their peak, and they were just making every single shot. I mean, in the third quarter, Miami scored only 13 points, so it's not. And they weren't playing good defense. Miami was playing terrible defense on the 3-point line. So watch them bounce back, and we'll see for Brooklyn.
All right, guys. So that's been round 2 of the playoffs. So I think we should go to In the Post now. So for those of you who are new to the show, In the Post is a segment where there's 6 questions. They come from the fans, they come from Phil, they come from Mota, and they come from guests occasionally. Basically, they're going to go head-to-head. They've never seen each other's questions before. And we are going to, just a second here, I'll throw a question at each of them, and I have my trusty watch here. They'll have 24 seconds to answer each question. These are real questions, and this is the real deal, and this is In the Post. So I'm going to throw the first question to Phil. Phil,
bring it.
Why do you think NBA coaches go around from team to team to team, same faces every year? Why is there rarely Why is there rarely fresh blood in the league like the Celtics did with Brad Stevens this year?
I think for the simple notion that NBA players are men who make their own money and have this ego, whereas college coaches have this superiority almost as soon as they get in there. So it's just being able to deal with NBA type human beings, and they've shown some type of success, and they think in different systems. We've seen so many players, different systems means different results. I think the same logic applies to coaches.
Mota, your response.
I think I actually agree with Phil, but in a different way. I think the players are used to the same systems all around the league. So the only 2 coaches that I know that play different system are Phil Jackson and Mr. Pringles, I call him, the Lakers coach, Mike D'Antoni.
Mike D'Antoni.
So they have different systems, but the players are used to the rest.
Okay, I give that one a tie between the 2 of you. Okay, round 2. I'm giving this one to Mota. Can any New York Knickerbockers coach, and I'm going to say Bockers coach because that's my man Bill came up with that. Can any Bockers coach succeed under the Zen Master?
I think the Knicks are just talking about getting Steve Kerr. I think he can be the guy to bring it. He has experience with Phil Jackson as a player. And he knows the game. He knows a little bit. And he brings the West mentality into the Knicks. So he's going to bring a little bit more defensive mentality. So I think he'll be a good fit for the Zen Master.
Phil, coaching under the Zen Master.
I completely disagree with you, Mota. I think for the very reason I think the next Lakers coach will be successful with Phil Jackson being out of LA and that shadow no longer being cast. I think anyone is going to be cast having that heavy shadow, 6'7" shadow on them, and every bad decision on their part is going to fuel the fire in the New York press saying, bring Phil to the bench, bring Phil to the bench, and that is a pressure, especially in New York, no one can handle.
People said the same thing about Spoelstra in Miami, but you know what? We'll have to wait and see.
He had LeBron James.
I'm giving that one to Phil. So next question goes to Phil.
No love whatsoever.
Phil, can George Karl be a viable option in Golden State?
George Karl, viable option, absolutely. He has a great offensive mind. I think as long as they bring in a good defensive coach. He's played with small ball systems where his centers weren't necessarily the big talents or where they score. I think it's actually a perfect fit, and I think a little bit more veteranness than Mark Jackson would actually make sense. I think Mark Jackson a little too buddy-buddy. George Karl would just put that professional touch. I like it.
Mota, George Karl, Warriors.
I think George Karl is definitely also a good fit. I would have brought him a long time ago to the Golden State because he has the Seattle Supersonics mentality, Denver Nuggets. He dealt with egos like Carmelo Anthony, so he knows how to bring the players together for one goal, and he's one of the offensive masters of the game. So I think it'll be a good fit.
All right, that's another tie. Also, I got to mention Stan Van Gundy grew up in the Bay Area. He actually went to games in high school at the Oracle. He's got a lot of roots there, so that I think he would be a good fit there as well. Okay, question number 4, and I get that's a tie. I'm going to give this one to Mota. Should the Lakers be looking for a veteran coach to coach Kobe and Steve Nash, or should they try to get some fresh blood?
I think they should do it like Bill Russell, where they are coaching players, because with their egos, I don't think anybody can deal with Kobe. I mean, the only guy that contained him was Phil Jackson, and he said it in one of his books that he said that he would respect Phil Jackson just because he came with the Michael Jordan experience.
Phil, fresh blood? Lakers?
I think absolutely you have to go fresh blood. I think the Los Angeles Lakers are in the spot where they could be making the mistake of hanging on to let's let Kobe win too long and miss the train on the rebuilding process. They cannot allow the Clippers to overtake the City of Angels. They have to start rebuilding now. New coach, I'm calling Kevin Ollie. I think he's a great call. You allow Kobe to play, but you build for your future. Don't sign a 31-year-old Melo.
I like the Kevin Ollie one, but Steve Nash as player coach, that would be fascinating. I'm going to give that one to Mota. Okay, next question, number 5. This one's going to Phil. Phil, the Toronto Raptors playoff run, is that Coach Casey or is that Kyle Lowry?
I'm going to give it to Kyle Lowry. I'm actually not the biggest Casey fan. I think he gets away with Lowry being a big leader on the floor. And you can tell when they got in the dumps, Lowry would just take the ball, command it. I think Casey adds a lot. He's taught a lot. I'm not taking away from him, but I think the biggest change has been Lowry having a team.
Mota, Raptors run.
Completely disagree with him. I think Casey brought. Even though I didn't like Casey's system for a long time, but he's the guy who brought the team together. And just to see how the Brooklyn game ended, to see that their general and their leader flopped the ball and he dropped the ball and he was trying to force the ball too much and he didn't see the other players, that to me was the biggest mistake. So I'll give that to Casey.
But Dwayne Casey drew up that play for him.
No, that wasn't a drawn up play.
At the end of the game, Kyle Lowry said the play was to get him open and him the shot.
No, it was supposed to be for the pass, but
I'm going to give that one to Mota, and Mr. Ujiri seems to agree because he gave him the contract extension. So the final question in the post, I'm throwing this to Mota. If the Oklahoma City Thunder do not make it to the NBA Finals, is Scotty Brooks on the trade block?
Oh, he's definitely out of there. I mean, how many times is the guy going to get all the way to the Western Finals and or to the finals and just not win? The team is complete. They have the talent, they have big man, they have Kevin Durant and Westbrook, even though he doesn't pass the ball too much, and they need a guy who can contain Westbrook. So he's out of there if they're out.
Phil Brooks.
I've been saying this for years now. I don't even think he should have started this year. I think he should have been gone. I want to see my man and our man Stan Van Gundy. I think that is the perfect fit. And anyone who's lucky enough to be coaching Mr. Steven Adams, I don't even have to be making real points at this. They're the Thunder. They should be doing better in this. Steven Adams is a great rookie. I win.
Yeah, I'll give that one to Phil. I didn't think of Van Gundy there, but if he wants to return to the game, I would love to see him with a winning team like that. Mota, what the heck is your surprise? We've been waiting here the last few days.
Okay, so here goes. In the next couple of days, I'll be preparing my bag to be on the road to Milan to watch to be at the EuroLeague finals. We're going to be the first Canadian website that is accredited by the EuroLeague to follow the EuroLeague Final Four this weekend.
Ooh, I like it. We are a global game. We are a global game.
Getting the hits again.
So it's
well done.
It's just exciting when I got the email. So we're going to be following the EuroLeague Finals Final Four next week. We have Barcelona, Maccabi, Real Madrid, And CSKA Moscow, that is going to be insane. So while you guys are watching the NBA playoffs, I'm going to be watching some EuroLeague, so at least I get a little bit of my fix.
Yeah. And follow that Twitter handle, Mota Elb. He will be tweeting all throughout the EuroLeague finals. Like I said, we are a global game, one love. And just a quick story to wrap up our 50th episode. When I was 12 years old, I got to meet my first NBA player. And, growing up in a small town, you think you can't reach out to these guys. And a mall opened up in my hometown, and this Hills department store. I don't even know if the Hills department store still exists. But for some reason, they brought in NBA Rookie of the Year, David Robinson, to my hometown, and I got this signed by Mr. Robinson, the Admiral. And as a 12-year-old kid, that is like, wow, I can actually be part of this, and that kind of started something for me. And he's number 50, and this has been our 50th show. So I wanted to thank you guys for being along for the ride. And was there anything we wanted to add coming up for this week?
Nothing much on my side. I mean, obviously, regular shows looking forward to, and a couple extra little side shows here and there we're creating. So if you guys do have any ideas of stuff you do want to see, send it our way. But I'm going to work on kind of something in conjunction with Mr. Mike Grumberg, who's been writing our great Technical Tuesdays. If you haven't read that article, by the way, this week on Darnold Sterling and the Clippers, it's a fantastic one. So for all you readers out there, and we're going to be working on some kind of like a rant program where it's a little bit more trade involved and some nitty-gritty that way. So looking forward to that.
Yeah. And for me, I have a piece I'm writing on the Raptors, I guess you call it rebranding, We the North, and how it's become quite a movement, and even the Montreal Canadiens hockey team jumped in this week. So it's growing and growing, and as they say, it has legs. Mota, anything on your end in Switzerland? Beyond Milan?
Besides the Final Four, nothing much, but watch out, because the next step is going to be Spain 2014 and Turkey 2014, and that's the goal.
Dios mío, I hope we end up there. But as we say, we keep growing here, and it's Hoops Lounge. Our slogan was where basketball is the official language, Ici on parle basketball, and we have to add some Spanish onto that too, fellas. But Phil, I'm going to throw it back to you, and thank you guys. Like I said before, it's been 50 shows, and hopefully we get to 500 and 5,000. Okay, Phil, I'm throwing it back to you.
Exactly. So, guys, remember, if you ever want to keep in touch with us, obviously, hoopslounge.com is the place to be. Twitter, Hoops Lounge, Facebook, Hoops Lounge, and YouTube. Remember to go there, The Hoops Lounge. So YouTube/The Hoops Lounge. Remember to subscribe and like our videos. They'll end up more on your feed, and we'll keep bringing you what you want. So comment on the videos, like them. And if you like any particular parts, we can focus on that. So we want to bring the content you guys want to see, because that's what we do here at Hoops Lounge every week, every day. Catch you guys next time in the lounge.
Yeah.
Yeah.